I think it's the complete creative freedom I have with that. So for me, having a blank canvas or a blank mixed media paper, whatever background it is I use for my art making, then that's a world of endless opportunities for me.
Welcome to Scrapbook Your Way, the show that explores the breadth of ways to be a memory keeper today. I'm your host, Jennifer Wilson, owner of Simple Scrapper and author of The New Rules of Scrapbooking. This is episode 189. In this episode, I'm joined by Felicitas Mayer to chat about the role of mixed media in her creative process, as well as the connections between art making and memory keeping. Hey, Felicitas, I'm so glad to talk to you today. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jennifer. So nice to be here. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking forward to our conversation. I've admired your work for so long. Could you share a little bit about yourself to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. My name is Felicitas Mayer. I'm a mixed media artist and instructor from the beautiful south of Germany. My husband Stefan and we just bought our forever home, and over the last couple of months, we moved in, and I was busy with renovations and building a home, so that it's what I shared most, I think, in the last couple of months. But work-wise, I've been self-employed in the memory keeping industry since 2011 now. I taught scrapbooking and mixed media in-person workshops, but also online classes. For a bit, I had a scrapbooking magazine, and then over 4 or 5 years, I had my own stamp shop, designed my own products. So, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Now, I'm curious with your home renovations, Are you documenting that process? Is that part of your scrapbooking?
Not as much as it should be, probably. I took all the photos.
It's hard, yeah.
I took photos and videos, but I hadn't got the time yet to document properly. But they're all there. So if you have the photos, I think, there's still time to document and bring it down from the camera to paper,
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. So what's exciting you right now in memory keeping? It really could be anything at all.
I just recently fell back in love with pocket page scrapbooking with Project Life. I did Project Life for the first time around 2012, I think. That's when it all came up and was all the hype. And I did all the formats. I did it weekly. I tried it monthly, everything. And then since this specific memory keeping project was part of when I had my stamp shop, and it was part of the promotion and selling the stamps. And so it felt like a chore, and I fell out of it with love. So I think, and then I usually make another attempt at the beginning of the year, like with the resolution, and I was like, you get back into pocket page scrapbooking, and then it just fizzles out. But I recently, I think it was in July, I started again, and now I really like how easy it is to document a big amount of time and photos in these pockets. I totally forgot about it. And the simplicity of this documenting style with just my photos and a little bit of embellishing, usually the things I have laying around on my table from my mixed media or something like that. And I just fell in love with it back again. And now I did all July. I then started with August and went back to June now. I'm all over the place, but I'm having fun while doing it. So I think it's good.
Yes, no, that's definitely good. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what size of pages are you doing?
I work in a 9x12 album right now, and my go-to pocket page is the 9 times 3x4 pockets. That's what.
Okay. So you love the 3x4 size.
Yeah, this is my all-time favorite size. I don't know. Vertical photo, and this is the perfect size for me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so cool. I wonder if these tweaks are what's really making it work for you compared to 2012 and everywhere in between.
Yeah, I think the 9 pockets give me the freedom or the possibilities to include more, I think, beside the photos, like with a mixed media card or something. And it's a colorful addition to my photos, I think. And I really like colorful and vibrant things. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. We'll definitely link up an example in the show notes.
Oh, okay.
For this episode. So we also love to ask our guests about their memory keeping bucket list. So this is a story that feels important to tell, but for some reason you haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I think this would be the story of myself. And I usually, the story of who I am and what got me up to here, I think would be, because I usually, when I do Project Live or also in a story album kind of project, I usually talk about my everyday things, what happened today, what we did this week, our out and abouts, but I not often go deep into documenting feelings, my own feelings, and telling stories of myself, if that makes sense.
It does. I do think you do that, though. So maybe you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Yeah. I have to say I got better the last couple of years.
Okay.
Right when I think we will talk about that later, when my mental health got better. So I felt more comfortable with sharing more of myself. But in previous years, I just felt that I'm not enough as a person to share that. And I know that's deeply, and this is, I think, the first time I told this so semi-publicly. This is deeply rooted in my husband and I's infertility journey that we did 5 or 6 years, I think. And that it was not possible for us to start a family. And so there's a whole lot of self-worth issue rooted in that. And also with me working in an industry that basically has family and kids as a centerstone of keeping these memories, I always feel there is no place for myself here, because I only, in air quotations, have to share what happened today, like what I had for lunch. So yeah, I think. But I'm also, I'm not good at documenting the bad stuff, which would be part of my story, documenting what happened with us as a couple, but also within our whole family. So I usually stick to the everyday stuff, and I think since I'm now working on all these things with my mental health, I think I'm ready, and I'm more open to share this and document this. Yeah.
So you kind of have a backlog of feelings to express. Yes. I think that happens a lot when we go through something and we just don't feel ready to express it, whether it's through our art or through our words or even our photos. And we have to get to that other side to be able to let it out.
It takes some time. Like a couple of years ago, I was not ready to document that stuff, but I now feel I'm getting better, and it's easier to talk about it and to tell. There's no shame in that. And in previous years, I often saw this as a shameful thing due to this industry and what we are documenting. And so, yeah.
Well, I really want to celebrate your bravery in facing it yourself and sharing it with us. So thank you.
Of course, yeah.
So before we learn more about you as a mixed media artist, I want to give our listeners just a little teaser about what makes you tick. Because right now at Simple Scrapper, we're talking about projects. And I'm curious, what helps you finish your projects?
That's deadlines and commitments.
I hear that a lot. That's okay.
I'm a big procrastinator, I think. But just not because I'm lazy. But speaking of self-worth issues, it's more that I don't trust myself with decision making. And I always doubt myself if this is the best decision I could make. Is this the perfect way I could do this? And because I can't decide, I then don't finish or commit. So I put it on the list for tomorrow or next week. And that's usually, that's a problem. It's not a problem with creative work commitments, like for one little word or something like that. I don't have a problem with finishing that, just because I know there are people who count on me or are actually interested to hear what I have to say. Yeah. So, but I think also accountability is a really big thing for me, and I'm learning to use that to my advantage, because once I've told someone about creative plans or projects I want to tackle, I have no problems to do them or to finish them. So yeah, I think that helps me a lot.
I think it takes, I was very resistant to it for a long time, thinking I want the freedom to choose what I want to do in the moment. If I don't want to do it, I don't want somebody to tell me to do it or remind me to do it. But then recognizing how much that accountability helps is huge.
Yeah, I'm just learning that. I just got into it and shared a few things with friends, like with work stuff, and so that helps me. And it's not that they're upset with me, or if I don't, it's just that's someone out there who's interested in what I'm doing or what I'm working on. So
yeah, it makes a difference for sure. So I wanted to have you on the show, of course, to talk about incorporating mixed media art into your scrapbooking projects. And it sounds like you're doing that with your project Life this year. So I'm curious how you in particular define mixed media, because, everyone, it's a broad term.
Yeah.
So what supplies and techniques are part of your specific process?
I think in terms of mixed media and memory keeping, I would say it's just a combination of different things that you create your project with. Like for me, if you use a baker's twine or a piece of fabric and then maybe have a little bit of watercolor in your background, then this is you using mixed or different media. So for me, I would count it totally as mixed media. It doesn't have to be complicated to it's just creative exploration, I think. I would say in my art making, like when I create in my art journaling, for example, I say it's a little bit different. Then I would define it like with mixed media is me working with acrylic paints or oil pastels or watercolor pencils and spray paint and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, like kind of maybe the mental separation between those projects, and then where do they end up overlapping?
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you cut like if you've painted something, even if it could be like the underlayment, you'll cut that up and use that in a project later.
I think it comes from in the early stages of me getting into mixed media, and I come from a very, I think, clean and simple scrapbooking style. I like that having clean, and I like to have have it bold or typography things on there, not that mixed with paint or something. But when I got into mixed media, I always, and I think you mentioned that also, I could not combine these two worlds together. And I think for me, it's easier to think of them as two separate things, where I have two different definitions for that. Although they usually end up together, like with my project Life, I am working on my desk where I did some art making for recharging energy and stuff before. And then there's just an art paper laying on my desk, or like I did a mixed media greeting card for someone in my family, and there was just the art paper, snippets of the art paper left, and I used that as a filler card for my project Life then. So I think I usually don't create mixed media pieces specifically for my memory keeping, but I use everything that I do in my art making or in my art journaling and bring that into my world of memory keeping or in project Life this year. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So is it accurate to say that you don't sit down and take a 12 by 12 and then make a background for a layout with paint and things like that?
I have done that, but I think the motivation from that comes, oh yes, I just want to sit down and play. And then create the art paper and then see, or a mixed media background, if you want to call it like that, and then use it for memory keeping. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of very different experiences for you.
Yeah. I think it comes from, because memory keeping itself, like classic project life or classic a scrapbooking layout type of project, these are, in my head, they're still part of my work from my stamp owner shop experiences, part of things I have to do and have to promote products with. And they became, back then, they went from a hobby and a thing that I got energy back from into a chore, from like having a job I have to do with them. And so I think, that's why I usually don't, I had a hard time with doing strictly memory keeping things for as my free time pleasurement. So that's usually the art making thing. Yeah. But I'm getting back to it. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that your pocket pages are really helping to find those connections together and help you kind of reclaim your own excitement for
because these little pockets, the 3x4, are perfect just to fill them up with anything you have there. It could be a photo, could be a snippets from my art making. Yeah, everything goes.
So I'm curious, when you are making art, regardless of kind of what the destination is for it, what about that gives you so much joy?
I think it's the complete creative freedom I have with that. So for me, having a blank canvas or a blank mixed media paper, whatever background it is I use for my art making, then that's a world of endless opportunities for me and a never ending project. And because all my art making is very process based, there's a beginning, sure, you somewhere have to start, but there's usually no end, and I don't know where I end up. I usually just sit down, have my paints around me or my other mediums, my water-soluble crayons or whatever, and then just sit down and play and explore what's possible. And my projects never feel finished. I could build a layer and layer after layer, and so I sometimes or very often have to forcefully remove myself from the project just because it's so much fun to play and explore. Yeah. And I think that's very much joy. Yeah.
Do you, and I asked this question from my personal experience, do you find that making art helps you escape kind of perfectionism that you may naturally gravitate towards because you mentioned you like clean lines and typography, and like the opposite of that is, abstract.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know why me having this difficult in decision making in art, I know it. There's a feeling of this I can do, this I know how to do, and I know I'm good at that in a general sense, I guess, or a very objective, subjective sense. And also I know there is no, if I don't like it, I just take a white paint and paint it over and just start anew. I don't know, but this gives me so much freedom and joy, I think, yeah.
So do you say that you are more gentle with yourself when it comes to making art than making memory keeping pages?
I think so, yes. Because for me, especially with lots of my projects are abstract art making or abstract mark making, and there's no comparison for that. There is abstract can be whatever you want it to be. And there is no, if I say to you, this is an abstract flower I create with that one line, then it is one. And you cannot say it isn't, because that's all in the eye of the beholder, what abstract art is. And I think with memory keeping, also with social media and Instagram photos, you usually, like, was in creative teams, and there's always so many products you have to promote, and you have to highlight and stuff, and there's so much comparison also for what you can do with a project, with those products. And I often feel, that there are so many ideas out there what you can do with these products, and these people they spend time with promoting these products and thinking about 1,001 way to highlight them, because that's their job, or that's why they're on these teams. But for me, it's often gives me this is a great idea. Why did I not think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're not alone in that, whether you're on a creative team or just using the products as part of your hobby.
Yeah.
So we've talked about that you've been very open with your mental health struggles. Particularly, I've been in the One Little Word classroom the past 2 years, and you've shared a lot there. Would you say that art is part of your self-care?
Definitely, yeah. It's because of the creative freedom, but I also feel safe there. This is such a big part of my self-care, just to sit down after a hectic day, or we just came back from vacation, and I had a few art items with me, but I didn't use them, and so I really enjoyed sitting down on my craft desk table, and just went back into making, because that's what I love and that's what I do. And also what we talked about earlier, I have no self-doubt in that area. No anxiety about decision-making, or it's just creative freedom and creative play with, what brings me joy. Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, where do you think that confidence came from? Do you have any formal training, or have you just been making art all your life? In addition to the fact that it is abstract and free and nobody can judge it. Curious about kind of your history.
Yeah. Both. I think I had a very creative upbringing, an artsy upbringing. Don't know the word. Yeah. So my mom was always big supporter of us, me and my sister, with art making and doing all the holiday crafts and all that stuff. And then when I was older, I went into painting. As much as it was possible, my grandma recorded Bob Ross painting sessions for me on the VCR.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I went into that, and then somehow found QVC, and someone on there promoted Tim Holz's Distress Inks, and that was the downfall. From back there. Yeah. And then I just went on the internet and found American paper crafting and scrapbooking blogs and mixed media people who shared their art, and so I came back into that. But I'm also a trained graphic designer, so I once learned what color theory is and all the golden rule of third, or what is all that stuff. So I think it helps.
Now, you mentioned that you've had trouble kind of bringing together your art and your memory keeping in the past. Now, am I remembering correctly that last year's December Daily, you did a mixed media December Daily?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did that experience work for you? How did it feel?
I was thinking about that recently as the new December Daily season began. And I finished that project. I don't think I will do it again, because for that project and keeping the memories of that special holiday season, I think I did not enough journaling with my art making and putting the photo in there. So it was okay, because it was a 24-day challenge for me making art in a row. That was quite interesting. But I think December Daily would be probably better for my personal memory keeping, with more classical scrapbooking, memory keeping, pocket page, whatever. Yeah.
So what are you thinking about for this year?
I haven't decided yet if I want to join again.
Okay.
I did it for
That's fair too.
I did it for the last 2 years in a row, and I did both projects and recorded both projects every day with a video. So, and that's I think just on my YouTube channel, and so, last year, I think just Instagram. I can't remember, but that was hard. And, that's the commitment thing again. I'm not sure if I want to commit to, maybe I'm doing like a 12 days of Christmas thing and then keep on doing if I manage to do that. Yeah.
I wonder if, what other kind of accountability besides making the videos you could build in so that you don't feel that pressure of making the videos. Like only make a video at the end, or one at the beginning saying, here's what I'm going to do. And at the end, here I finished, and then just share photos in between. I'm not trying to give you therapy or coach you.
That's good advice. That's actually, I never thought of that because again, with me coming from having a stamp shop or promoting products, it's work, and you have to do the daily thing. Well, not actually have to, but it feels like that's the best way to share and promote. And I think I have to consider maybe going on a different approach this year. Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like there's opportunities and possibilities there for sure. Yeah. All right. So you mentioned you're doing 9x12 pocket pages.
Yeah.
I know you've been working in smaller books, like handmade books for your art journaling.
Yeah.
Are there other sizes and formats that you've been working in?
Well, no, I don't. Art journaling is, I really like working in these small sizes, like a 4x6 format, if you will, for art journaling, because that's I can get fast to results. The spread is so fast, quick done. But with the handmade journals, that's usually just I try to keep it around that size, around that 4x6. But sometimes the papers are just a little bit bigger. Or I collected a few papers that laying around here and just put them beside two bigger cardstock, thicker cardstock bases, and then put a binding ring between them. So yeah, it's just what's there, I think. Yeah. Oh, and go ahead. Yeah, I have one, a story album that is 6x8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you do 6x8 layouts outside the page protector? Do you do pockets or all of those?
In the story album, that's usually outside of the pockets. Like I started it, I think, 2 years ago with these mixed media backgrounds and stuff. So that is the 6x8. Yeah. And that's usually all outside of the pockets, like a regular scrapbook, I think. Yeah.
And so going back to what we mentioned earlier, typically you're finding art or a piece of art that you've made previously and choosing to use that as the background and building on top of that.
Yeah, because I have a messy desk, and I usually there's usually all kinds of leftovers right from when I did the card. There's just the snippets that I didn't use for the card, and so these I will save these for the pocket pages. Like you can use a 1-inch stripe of mixed media paper and put it on a 3x4 card, and then you have a perfect journaling card. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you've been able to combine these in your own way that celebrates the imperfection of the painting, but then, trims it into a rectangle and makes it precise for your scrapbooking because you have that designer's eye on it too.
And it's also the other way around. I use the leftover photos I have for my memory keeping, like selfies, or when my printer didn't work, or I have doubles. I use these in my art journal. I really like to cut them out and just put myself on the art journal pages, because I'm working on incorporating myself more into my art making. Yeah.
So is it accurate to say that it's rare that you're going to use wet media on a small scrapbook page or in your pocket pages? Things have already dried by the time you get to them for scrapbooking.
Usually, yes, because I usually do all the messy and wet stuff before I glue photos or journaling spots or tags or labels on top of that. But I also worked with having a background photo and then just paint it over them. I know you have to have the perfect consistency of paint. It can't be too wet because also your paper would crumble. But yeah, I'm usually, I like the messiness of everything, and I don't mind having some splatters over photos, or if the photo just warps a little bit from a wet medium. So, but I usually, when I'm working with wet media, I usually cover faces of people in photos, so that these are...
You don't get a weird blob, yeah.
Especially with red color or something like that. Could easily look weird. So, yeah, but I don't mind having paint stains on the rest of the body on the photos also, yeah.
Yeah, because I think using, let's just say, wet stuff in general can be intimidating to a beginner. Or do you have any other tips that would help someone feel more confident and comfortable?
I think it depends on what you would count as wet media.
Well, just anything that's, watercolor, even acrylic paint, inks. I think even just the splattering and misting can sometimes be intimidating because, is it going to go the way I want it to go?
Yeah, I think that's something I really learned early, to let go of perfection in mixed media. The splatters go where the splatters want to go. You don't control them. Same as watercolor. It flows where just the water is. And but in terms of working with photos, I have made the experience that when I print photos online and they were sent to me with a regular real photo paper, these papers are usually protected with a thin foil or something on top of, or the photo paper is very slick, and these usually can handle the water or the wetness of the media, compared to what I usually work with, a matte photo paper. So paint and all wet stuff would soak in. So I think you have to keep that in mind. What's also, I think, would work is covering your photo with what's called matte medium, translucent medium gel that would cover everything underneath, also the photos, or with transparent gesso, which is a primer that you usually use when you start a painting. So that would all keep your photo safe, and then also create a layer on top of that you could wipe off paint from. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that this was years ago now, but I had a photo that came from Persnickety Prints, and they always advertise how waterproof their paper is.
Okay.
And I had done some painting on it, and I did not like it at all. And so I took it to the sink and completely rinsed it off, and you could not tell that anything had ever happened to the photo. So I think that's a great tip for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I saw you mention recently that you're working on a class. And so I'm curious if you could share a little bit more about it, and what kind of myths about mixed media do you hope to bust or demystify with the class?
Yeah. So me talking about that class is kind of the accountability thing we talked earlier about it, because I'm working on that since for it's over a half a year or something. And I'm looking at my pack of projects I want to do as a class, and I literally made 15 or 16 versions of a project that I never felt good enough to have as a class. because that's with the decision making, and it's not good enough, that's not perfect enough, and I can't let it go, and I can't decide till this is the class I'm doing. So I recently made a decision. I just start talking about it, and then I have to commit. It will be okay. It won't be perfect because it's never perfect, and I have to let that go. But I think people will still enjoy getting their paints out or playing with colors and paints and marks and layers. So, because I heavily believe in empowering people to explore their own creative potential, because often people tell me in my Instagram DMs, I could never do this, and this looks so complicated to do. And I usually say okay, of course, I did this for years. It's not difficult to me, but I also feel you could, if you just have basic art knowledge, like with color theory, if you know what you will get once you mix color 1 with color 2 and go from there and just go on and explore colors with that knowledge, or how different media react once you put them together, or how you build up layers that you won't lose vibrancy, or you don't end up with a brown mud on your page. I think this is basic knowledge that would help, and that people can go on their own creative exploration, which is the most fun, I think. And it's also good for creating and finding your own style, I think, and just explore what you like. And if you don't like it, then don't do it again. But it helps if you have done something that you can say afterwards, well, I didn't like that, I won't do that again. Or if you say, well, that was cool, I want to do more of that. So, yeah.
Well, that sounds awesome. I wish you lots of luck as you continue working on that.
Thank you.
I'm excited that you decided to share it with the world as an accountability strategy.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you share where we can find you online? And is there anything else that you're going to be working on towards the rest of this year?
Yeah. So I have a website, which is felicitasmayer.com, that I neglected a little bit. I started to blog there, but it just fizzled out. But I'm also on Instagram and YouTube, both with my name. And to find me is, I think, I'm a proud member of the One Little World community. I really like these people, and I just telling the team that I have so much joy checking up with them monthly. And we have these creative Zoom calls that Ellie does each month, and I'm getting so much out of the whole project and the workshop and the community around One Little World. So that's a good place to find me, I think. Yeah.
You also spend time at Get Messy, right?
Yeah, I have a mini course, if you will, in the Get Messy art journaling community, and I'm also in the Get Messy book that just came out this year, which is a great inspiration for everyone who is interested in art journaling or mixed media, or exploring just a little bit more with paint and all that good stuff. Yeah. And and I also just I had an announcement that I'm part of the teachers team of Wanderlust 2023, which is also a year-long art journaling mixed media course that you can sign up for. I will give you my affiliate link if you would like to put that down somewhere. Yeah. So
that'd be fantastic. Yeah. We will include that in the show notes.
That's cool. Thank you. Yeah. And then also there's a sign up on the bio on my Instagram I put up an email list for my course, because you never know when it's happened. So, but if you're interested in that, please sign up for that to keep you in the loop. Yeah.
Yes. And you can have more people on, list keeping you accountable.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so fun. I've enjoyed getting to know you better. Thank you for sharing so honestly with us today.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer. That's really awesome. I really like your podcast, and it's great. It is great company to have to listen to your episodes while I'm making art. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And to all of our listeners, please remember that you have permission to scrapbook your way.